So a lot of churches have this question. How can we best include children who have developmental disabilities in our general ministry classroom if we don't have a specific team for disability ministry? That's a great question, and today we're going to answer it. We're going to talk all about inclusion, what it is, and what you should know before you get started.
Hey there, what you doing? Oh, you were invited to be part of a new group? That's great. Not to be awkward, but are you actually being included here? Because it looks like something isn't working. Oh, I see. Before you can be part of the group, someone needs to make a way for you to be part of it? Huh. Wonder if that ever happens anywhere else. Nobody likes to be left out, especially at church, but for too long, many families who have children with disabilities have not felt welcome here because their families' needs were not supported. The good news is most churches want this to change. But how can we change that really? Well, one way is to plan for inclusion. Let's stop here for a moment. If you are a children's leader or a youth leader, then you've probably heard this term inclusion before, but do you really know what it means? Well, let's take a look at these three group dynamics and find out. This is exclusion. People want to get in, but they just can't. And for too long, this is how many families affected by disability have felt about church. Next, we have integration. Integration means that groups of people are all together within a larger group, such as a disability ministry classroom. And here we have inclusion. Inclusion means that all students, including those who have developmental disabilities, are all part of the general group. Everyone is in the same environment, but not everyone will need the same supports. So how do you plan for this new inclusive plan? NextGen Ministry and Disability Inclusion, the way to make a way. The first thing you want to know about inclusion is that setting up for success often leads to success. That's right. What you do before your class starts is often more important than what you do after it starts. So if you want to be prepared to include all students, here's 3 things you should do ahead of time. Number 1, have adaptive resources available. These will include visual learning aids like visual schedules and visual timers. Sensory items such as fidgets and quiet spaces, and tools to communicate expectations like a First Next board and Just for Me books. Number 2, have volunteers on duty who have extra training. Remember those great adaptive resources we just talked about? Well, they don't do much good if none of your volunteers know how to use them. So start training your whole team how to use them. Then think about which individual team members would make great buddies and give those guys additional training. If you're wondering how, seems like I've heard of these really cool 5-minute training videos somewhere. What's that name again? Number 3, get information about a child who needs extra support before you try to support them. This means if you know a child is coming who has disabilities, reach out to the family before Sunday and ask if they'll tell you more. Offer to send them a disability ministry child information form that asks the questions that your team really needs to know. And if you have a family who comes without letting you know first, that's okay. You can still be prepared by having a disability ministry quick question list ready for the parents to fill out at the door. The second thing you need to know about disability inclusion is everything will be the same, but nothing will be the same. What we mean is you'll have the same objectives for everyone, but how you implement them may look different. The first is same policies, different adaptions. This means you'll have the same type of ministry policies for everyone, but some of these policies will need to be adapted for safety purposes. For instance, you probably have a restroom policy already in place, but does it work for older students who need assistance in the restroom? Probably not. An adaptive policy will need to be put in place. Secondly, the same lessons, but a different way of teaching. Teaching students about the Bible matters for everyone, but some kids will need these lessons to be adapted or be taught in a more multi-sensory way before they can really connect with the message. Adapting curriculum doesn't have to be hard or expensive to do, but it does make a big difference. Number 3, same kids, different experiences. You can start incorporating these inclusive practices right away because the truth is you probably already have students who would benefit from them now, even if they don't have official disability diagnosis. You will be surprised at how different their church experience will be when you do. And the third thing to know about inclusive ministry is you will learn that you have a lot to learn, and that's the best part of all. So invite the people who know more than you do to teach you and your team. This will include parents and some of your volunteers who may have valuable personal or professional experience to share. Invite them in to use their gifts to make a difference for God. And most of all, expect that the people who will teach you the most will be your students. Each one will have their own unique gifts, talents, and personalities that will impact your ministry and your life. Whew! I feel like we learned a lot about how to create a way for all students to have a way to be included. But there's one more thing before you go. Remember that inclusive ministry can lead to an inclusive church. Inclusion doesn't stop with students. Embracing people of all abilities is important in all areas of the church, and all members of the church should be invited to be part of this mission because, after all, inclusion includes everyone.
Thanks for joining us. In today's video, we talked about the highlights. To dig deeper on each topic, we hope you'll stay with us in the coming weeks as we go further into inclusion.